Good morning and welcome to HeadlocksForBreakfast.com. Today we're doing NXT for breakfast and I'm your host, as always, a Vanilla Midget. You can find me on Twitter at a Vanilla Midget and you can find me everywhere else on the internet at a Vanilla Midget. Don't forget the A, it's a Vanilla Midget. So last night's NXT, let's start with the first match. Mojo Rawley versus my boy, Aidan English. He's not really my boy, neither one of these guys are. It was pretty, it made me think it wasn't going to be a great night when this match started off. I did like the bright tights that Mojo Rawley was wearing. But that was about it. I couldn't stay hyped about this match at all. I did get a kick out of William Regal calling Aidan English Dear Aidan while he was calling the match. William Regal's always great. He does what he can. And, you know, it's a more of that Mojo Rawley ass-based offense, of course. So, not my favorite. NXT Women's Champion Charlotte was at the next match. She went against Bayley. And Bayley came out and did the Bret Hart gimmick and gave her headband to some of the fans on ringside. It was cool. Charlotte, originally when I seen her, I didn't think I'd be a big fan, but she's slowly grown on me. That match with Natty for the NXT Women's Championship at the end of that tournament, I thought it was the best Divas match or women's wrestling match WWE has thrown all year. So right now, that's my 2014 best Divas match. And this match, I thought Charlotte throwing the woos out there was cool. Summer Rae interrupting was kind of ridiculous. I mean, it threw off Charlotte to the point where she couldn't even throw a dropkick properly in her finish. She did finish though, and she beat Bayley obviously. Bayley, not a big fan of her really. My girlfriend actually says she should be with Bo Dallas as his manager. They should be a little team. That would be hilarious. Then she could get that wacky heel heat just with Bo, or maybe she'll be like the lovable character like AJ was to Daniel Bryan. That could also happen. So let's move on. Next was Ty Dillinger and Jason Jordan versus some guys I didn't even hear the names, some jobbers. The usual tag team NXT blow off match that you don't even have to watch. The one thing about it is Jason Jordan does a thing called the Jordan Slam, which is an angle slam or an Olympic slam, whatever. Kurt Angle's move that Randy Orton used for a little while, that like fireman carry slam, I don't know what you even call it. But yeah, that match was terrible. I'm not into their tag team yet. Maybe they got something going, but that I haven't found. Breeze might be the best like heel in WWE that they haven't used on the main product yet. Like, 'cause when they bring him up, he's gonna get scorching amounts of heat on Twitter. This guy can work. He can work the mic. He called Sami Zayn an uglier Seth Rogen, basically. The whole thing was great. He showed his little music video. It was terrible. The best part was the credits, and it was all Tyler Breeze the whole way. Yeah, Tyler Breeze is hilarious if you're into that kind of like bad guy thing, and if you're not into it, you're like one of those people who can get angry at wrestlers. He's going to be one of those guys that just gets in your mind and bothers you all the time, and that's perfect. That's what he's supposed to be. He's a bad guy, so I loved it. I can't wait to see more of him working matches. I'm not usually into recaps, but NXT recapping, Bo leaving the NXT was one of my favorite things ever. He kept coming back and trying to kick the fans out. I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to call campus security, all that kind of things. I thought that was hilarious. Bo Dallas is a genius. He's one of these things that I think is going to keep going and going and be him greater and greater. His face is alone. I mean, he's obviously related to Bray Wyatt, so those guys have the facial expressions down. But the NXT champion took on Justin Gabriel, who had his hornswoggle haircut, and then he had just some pants on, and I don't know, just a different look a little bit. I haven't seen him look this way anyway. And the match was fine. It was an athletic event. It wasn't really so much storytelling. They didn't really do anything in between the moves. There's just a lot of cool spots happening. One thing I liked was Adrian Neville had Justin Gabriel in a guillotine choke, and he reversed that with a Northern Lights suplex. I thought that was great. I also think I like when Justin Gabriel misses a 450 and like lands on his feet more than I like when he lands a 450. And overall, it was fine. I mean, Adrian Neville went over. Obviously, it was a fun match. I mean, if you're gonna watch NXT for that kind of stuff, it's like the indie style kind of thing. I think they nailed it. Tyson Kidd coming out and cutting like a, I don't know what kind of promo to get his rematch. I mean, that's fine. I don't think it was heel. I think it was King Impulse, at King Impulse on Twitter, who said Tyson Kidd is the man who charisma forgot. And he came out, he did his little, let me get a rematch promo. Adrian Neville said, fine. They're going to have another match just like Justin Gabriel and Adrian. Adrian Neville needs to have guys, like that Brodus Clay match was the most interesting thing I've seen because it was him against a monster. There was a story, David versus Goliath. I'm not really into him just versus other faces trying to get over with cool moves. I would rather see, you know, some character in there somewhere, but I don't know, get him a manager, get him Jim Cornette. That would be the funnest thing ever, obviously, but well, I hope you enjoyed the first ever NXT for breakfast. I'm going to make myself some breakfast. I'm a Vanilla Midget. I'm your host. I'll be back next week as always. For right now, I would say go to HeadlocksForBreakfast.com and enjoy some of our other content.